Gunners eliminated. Let none pass. Give them slaughter the traitor.
Hey guys, it's Merrick, and I've got something a little different than usual today. Rather than going over a longer gameplay session, I have a shorter few-minute clip that I'm going to go over in a more in-depth fashion. I'm going to let the clip play through, let you watch the whole thing, then I'm going to go back through it again, slow down a bunch, stop a bunch, and talk about a bunch of things. I thought it might be slightly more informative if I actually stopped and asked you things as the clip was playing through the first time, but that felt wrong on a viewer experience end. This clip was buried in my Shadowplay folder, so there's only so much that I can do in regards to the in-game audio. So we're going to try this out and see how it goes.
Fear me. No mercy! I will not fall. We are the bringers of death! No mercy! Gunners eliminated. Let none pass! Give them slaughter the traitors! No, loose the chapter's fury! I will not fall. Carry the Emperor's will as your torch. Slay them! Stamp them out! Are they afraid to close with us? Destroy them! Slaughter the traitors! Aim true, brothers!
The first thing we can gather is obviously that sentry turrets are overpowered, but it's worth mentioning and keeping in mind that any good play is a little bit of luck no matter how much skill is involved. The important part though is making sure that you understand why it was working out the way it was and put yourself in positions so that when the opportunity presents itself, you can actually make use of the situation. I can analyze something to death, but I personally have a lot of trouble in keeping myself present enough to be in the right spot at the right time rather than just going back into autopilot. That is a large portion of just making good plays and high percentage plays. It's easy to focus on executing perfectly as being the linchpin in these strategies because if you execute perfectly, sometimes you can brute force situations that should not or generally would not go your way. But if you don't have the awareness or the knowledge to be in the position to make that good play in the first place, no amount of execution is going to pull a play where there actually is none. I got lucky here right off the bat because as I was rotating around looking for other people, somebody comes out of the Sunderer's stealth field and just didn't murder me. So obviously I know there's a Sunderer around. Obviously from the direction they're coming, I know it's probably in that direction, and because they left a stealth field, I have an approximate range on how far it is. Hi, this is post-editing Review Merrick. I just wanted to say that editing Merrick is fucking incompetent and you shouldn't trust this guy. As those of you with eyeballs might have already established, the first thing that I actually shot were both infiltrators, and they were coming over the very obvious jump platform in the distance. There is probably a Sunderer off to the left because people do show up there later, but I cannot believe that I tunneled so fucking hard that I didn't see that while commentating or reviewing it the first time, and this fucking asshole, who may have fixed my Premiere Pro for me, made me catch this after I'd already uploaded this video and fix this. The motivations behind the plays are still the same, it's still relatively correct and it's still informational, but I couldn't not call myself out there. Anyway, now the record is set straight, enjoy your video, just keep an eye on this fucking guy, alright? I also know, because I didn't immediately die, that there's not a whole lot of pressure coming out of the Sunderer, it's likely fresh. I know this because if there was more than a few people there, if I stopped to shoot 2 people walking up to the doorway, the rest of them would have murdered me in the face. That also means, though, that CQC is more viable and playing aggressively is going to be more of an option. If there was a whole lot of people there, any attempt to play aggressively could just meet with me getting immediately overrun by numbers. With there being a lesser amount of people here, I can still eat bad RNG and lose the CQC lottery if I face check into a shotgun, but there's much more gameplay to be had with an aggressive, close quarters playstyle. As such, I'm also trying to keep the pressure up and try to bleed these guys as they're running up to the doorway. There are two options if I'm aggressively peeking like this and there's not a lot of them, is either they walk and have their guns ready for me to walk out and fight them, meaning they're going to take a long time to get here and I can generally try to desync and client side them, or they run at the door and then they have to react to me and pull their weapons up at the same time, giving me more time for the kill. It's kind of a lose-lose unless they actually have some kind of coordination. The more people they have, the more likely there's going to be somebody that's already ready and prepared for me as I come around the corner, essentially. I'm still trying to bleed them out here, but then I see some people on the left hill, which means either they came from a different spawn, or they flanked around the long way. It's much more likely they came from a second spawn, which also means we're about to get hit with a lot more pressure. Fortunately, when they actually did their first peek, I was cutting the angle tight just to try to catch somebody in an off angle on the tree. I had nothing to actually tell me that peeking more wide would have been punished yet, and had I been peeking wide, they very easily could have gotten a kill on me for free as I was standing still waiting for people on a different angle. But, like I said, I'm expecting a whole lot of pressure, and because that guy just went down, I'm expecting it very quickly. I actually went for my decimator because I was hoping to just get a free deci kill on the guy that comes through the doorway with my hashtag skill, and of course I forgot to reload it. So I go for the commissioner, and then I immediately realize it's a terrible idea because if any more than one person comes through that doorway, I'm going to have to hit perfect headshots to kill them, and if any more than two people come through the doorway, I'm just going to die. So I back off, reload, and I use this guy on my left for an actual early warning system. The fact that he didn't immediately die means they're not immediately peeking through that doorway, and I try to come up to the side here. I also assume, because on the minimap he's not dead and I don't see bullets coming through the doorway yet, that I can actually push up to the doorway and try to get another cheeky swing on somebody, but as soon as I do that, they hear me thinking that too loudly and they come flying through the doorway at me. I back off and I press myself against the corner trying to get as tight of an angle as I can. I'm not standing perfectly still, however, because then if somebody does happen to get some desync on me or happen to client side in, I'll be standing perfectly still, and it's much easier to hit a target standing perfectly still than a target moving just a little bit sideways. I swing out a little too far for my liking, I'm fully exposed here, and I also saw that second guy that peeked tried to back off, so I take the opportunity given by both of these situations and I swing around the server. I get out around this corner and what I see is a whole lot of luck. I see a medic that's hard rezzing with a res gun out, and I see two people close enough together that it's plausible one of them could be blocking the other one, limiting the amount of people that can shoot at me. So I immediately take the fight on the people that can actually shoot at me, and I'm trying already to go back to cover because there's about to be a lot of people very angry and looking in my direction. Two of the people that could have been shooting at me vacated my visual field, so it's just this guy I try to finish off, and then I see that the reses are going to be standing up. I commit to backing around this corner to pick up this first guy for the res. I'm pretty much guaranteed to have this kill, but I see the second guy on the right also start to skate off to the right, so I have a very strong assumption that he's just going to come around this side of the server. There's also a guy already shooting at me, so continuing to take that fight is bad. I get the cleanup on the guy that got the res, and I come around this corner already prepared for these guys to be here. They were not ready for me, however, so I get a free pickup. Now, I would love to tell you that I'm an absolute god and that I saw this guy coming around the corner out of my peripherals, but I had no fucking clue. What I do know is that there's two people unaccounted for right now, and peeking this corner, I don't see either of them. The most likely thing at this exact moment in time to kill me is somebody coming around the corner that I did not see. So, I go look, and guess what I find? I also wish that I could tell you that I'm so good that my reaction time is so amazing that I just responded to this guy shooting me and got out of the way. No, I actually, in my brain, had determined that I was going to murder this medic in 2 headshots with the commissioner, and I disappointed my family and myself. But because I assumed that he was going to die in those 2 shots, I was already moving away, and it just actually saved my life. Because I know that there's a guy shooting at me and this medic, I'm not going to have enough bullets in the commissioner, and I go for the knife. I'm able to finish off the medic with a headshot. I get the double dip from Assimilate and Adrenaline Shield, restoring both regular shield, energy, and overshield. Toggle my overshield, and then I continue pushing aggressively, trying to use the reverse momentum that I now have to catch these guys off guard. I hug the wall to minimize the amount of time they have to actually shoot at me, and to maximize the amount of advantage I'm going to have by flying out and being in front of them immediately. And that nets me a few more kills, where if I had executed perfectly, I would have had more overshield and assimilate energy, and I would have been alive still. I was able to cover a lot more in-depth and situational and fight-based things in this specific video than I would in a general gameplay commentary, but there's always more things to break down. I do hope, however, that you guys are paying attention, you got something from this video, and that my entire point was brought home and that sentry turrets are fucking broken. Let me know what you do like, let me know what you don't like, and let me know if you would like to hear me ramble about anything in particular so I can make these better going forwards. Thank you guys, I appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys next time.
Aim true, brothers!